Starfield, I can't believe today's news. This is wild. Fallout 3 on planets. New updates. Yeah, I'm sure everything of this will be true.
So finally it's happening. Some exciting news around Starfield that is also very good news for its future. I've been waiting for this news. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
And Todd Howard on Fallout 3 in Starfield. Is this actually in the game? Will it ever happen? And also, could Starfield become a TV show, much like Fallout is getting its own show on Amazon?
Please don't make Starfield into a TV show. Please spare me. But Fallout 3, no, that sounds pretty good as a TV show, not gonna lie.
We got some new words from Phil Spencer. We're gonna dive into that. And watch as this guy claims to have played Starfield, absolutely trashes it, and ultimately gets exposed for not having played it at all. You've got to see it to believe it. This is the world we currently live.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think you even need to play Starfield to understand that the game's pretty bad.
Live in. Also, we have a major graphics enhancement mod that will change the game big time.
Yes.
It's in the works right now, but you have to see this one for sure.
I mean, the mods are actually coming out pretty fast, not gonna lie. But again, if the mods come out in one day and people literally can remove the disgusting shaders and all of that crap in literally days, why is it there to begin with? Why? If modders can fix this game in a literal matter of hours, then why couldn't the developers do it in the first place? You know, I think that's a very fair question to ask.
Sure. And yes, more Starfield tips for shipbuilding, companion tips, data surveying, and 4 more details Starfield doesn't tell you. But yeah, check this out right here. So they really did it. Bloodline Heroes of Lithus just added an entirely new bloodline known as
Bloodline Heroes of Lithus. I can't say much. They have sponsored me also previously.
If you haven't already, turn on the bell notification icon. But yes, finally Starfield has done it. It has surpassed 300,000 concurrent players this weekend. It is on the up and up. I told you guys we're going to see what happens this.
Dude, not only Juicehead is absolutely obsessed with these cope numbers, but now also open world. It's like every single fanboy is just obsessed with the fact that how poorly Starfield is performing. 6 million players, the biggest. Yes. Yeah, it's a Bethesda game. It was expected to have a lot of players. But you know what no one expected? The fact that it's going to be on Game Pass. That Bethesda and Microsoft have so low expectancies for this game that it's going to be day one for free. Okay? No one expected that to be the thing, because why would you? A completely new IP, new everything, new game from Bethesda, one of the legendary game studios that currently exist. And it's on Game Pass day one because everyone thinks it's gonna fail otherwise. Amazing. And by the way, the Steam numbers completely show that it does. 300k players for a Bethesda game? Jesus. That's so unbelievably bad.
This weekend, it's finally happening, and the game is booming right now. So this is excellent news. But yeah, we got to talk about some controversy. Check this out right here. It says this: David Jaffe doing God's work. Just watch until the end. I'm going to play this clip for you in just a moment. But yeah, if you don't know who David Jaffe is, he, of course, worked on PlayStation exclusive games like Twisted Metal and so on. Okay. But yeah, this is the most ridiculous clip because he's talking to a gamer.
I mean, of course it's going to be the PlayStation versus Xbox. Oh, man. I'm in favor of watching handicapped people fight. I think it's kind of entertaining. But it's happening for too long with you know, the Xbox versus PS crowds. It's getting boring. At first it was funny, but now it's getting sad.
Seems to have played Starfield, and you could see where this actually goes. Check it out.
So far, based on word of mouth, reviews, it's a disappointment.
Okay. I mean, how much have you played?
Like 3 hours.
Okay, and what's disappointing about it to you?
First of all, I thought the intro was horrendous.
What about the intro? What about the intro was horrendous?
It just was very lackluster. Like, if you compare it to Skyrim, immediately you're fighting a dragon.
Do you think that was the choices you made? What is her name? Lynn or Lim? Do you think part of it is just the fact that she asked you to burn the body and it should be more of a choice versus she forces you to do it and it's almost like it's scripted at that point?
That's some of it.
I mean, that didn't happen at all in the game. So I'm assuming you haven't played it yet, correct?
No, I swear to God, I played it. But
wait, did he say that didn't happen yet? I'm confused. But in any case, again, I I think 1 hour is probably enough for you to understand how Starfield is gonna go. Unless you want to be one of those people who buys into, well, you have to get into New Game Plus, then play 50 hours of that, and then you're gonna start enjoy. No. How about no? The fact that people are saying that you need to actually like play a game for, I don't know, 5 hours to understand if it's good or not, that is true in some cases. But sometimes games are just so lackluster fucking stupid that you just need like 20 minutes to figure out that they're actually bad. And Starfield gets so much more atrociously worse when you actually understand the fact that 90% of the game is logged by talent points. Wait, I forgot how they're called, Jesus. But yeah, it's like, you get, do you want to stealth? Well, how about the fact that you can only learn crouch on like level fucking 10? How about that? How about that for stealthing? Are you gonna enjoy that? Probably not, but who cares? So much of the game is literally logged by you adding a point somewhere. It is just ridiculous. Flying ships? Nah. Stealth? Nah. So many things are literally just locked behind perks. Perks, there we go. Forgot it for some reason for now. But yeah, and it's like, someone commented on my video previously when I was complaining about the stealth thing, because I play games in stealth. And their comment was honestly kind of ingenious to a degree, but kind of extremely stupid at the same time. And that comment was, well, if you want stealth, you can just pick the talent point, not the talent point, but the background perk, so you get stealth on level 1. Which is fair, which is true. But how about this counterpoint? How about the fact that I don't want to pick that background? How about that? How about the idea that maybe there's something else that I want to pick instead of that, but if I don't pick that, I can't stealth before level 10? How about that? Crazy, right? Maybe I don't want to pick it. Wow. Breaking new grounds here.
Pretty crazy to me that people are willing to give an opinion on a product, whatever that may be, gaming, movies, what have you, without even actually experiencing what they're actually talking about.
That's not crazy. Most modern movies you can literally tell by, the trailer and what has led up to the point of them being released. Are they gonna be shit or not? It's pretty simple. Same with games, honestly. Like, we live in a time when we know all the tricks that these gaming companies, that these publishers, that these movie directors and whatnot use. And if you see enough of these tricks being used, you can bet that the game's gonna be garbage or the movie's gonna be bad and be like right 9 out of 10 times. That's the beauty. We already know all the tricks. You don't need to play Starfield even for a minute to look at the gameplay and say it's shit. I did that before Starfield got launched. When the gameplay trailers hit and all of that news, the fact that there's going to be an embargo on reviewing the game before an X period of time, aka a period of time where you could, people are going to start buying and downloading the game to actually play it. The fact that some outlets did not get reviews because they were not going to score it a 10 out of 10 instantaneously off the bat. There were so many reasons why you could easily call Starfield a failure and a bad game right off the bat. And I did that. And guess what? I was right.
Well, and it's very clear that that was going on in this conversation here. But I'm actually glad that this clip has surfaced because it shows where a lot of the hate is actually coming from for Starfield. A lot of the hate comes from people that have barely played the game. I myself, like many of you, are actually enjoying the game. Don't get me wrong. Again, there needs to be improvements with this one for sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about yet another brand new interview with Todd Howard and Phil Spencer. This one comes from Washington Post. Here's the headline right here. It says, a Starfield Postmortem with Todd Howard and Phil Spencer. Let's get into this one right here.
Oh, we
because there was
actually
some interesting
saw
stuff
this is
said
the one, right?
about Fallout 3 in Starfield.
Oh.
Let's dive into it right now. It goes on to say this. Microsoft acquired Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax Media in 2021 for $7.5 billion, with hopes to buttress its subscription service with exclusive quality titles. Howard and Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, say the partnership is a natural fit, especially since the studio has worked closely with Xbox in the past. Here's the quote from Spencer. It says,
I mean, they also worked closely with PlayStation in the past, but I love these fluff pieces.
it's been a while since we launched anything of this scale that's single player. It's kind of a pin for us in our strategy that
Wow.
we can do big multiplayer games and single player games. The business models that we have in Xbox and the places where we ship.
You know what I think would actually be really good for Starfield? If it was multiplayer. You know, if you could actually meet people in the universe, that would have been cool. But then again, how do you meet them? Because there's no exploration.
Allow
Where
us
do you
to
meet
find
them? Like, nowhere.
millions of players. And, you know, I'm so glad that they are tapping into the open world RPG single player experience and really going all in on that. Now, I do have a question for you.
This is not an open world single player RPG experience. This is barely an RPG experience, honestly. Yeah, they added like background dialogue options, but the brutal reality of the fact is, this game is just a slight step up from Fallout 4's yes, smirky, yes, no, smirky, no. Okay? It's just a slight improvement from that, because the reality is you don't have multiple ways to approach quests. You don't really have multiple ways to finish them. You don't really have multi-choice outcomes here. You can't go up to a guy and fail a conversation because you shot his fucking son, turns out, somewhere out in the desert, and now he knows about it. Or, you know, maybe you saved him. These things don't happen. It's literally all these special dialogue options and choices pretty much amount to like two things. Do you finish the situation with violence, or do you not finish the situation with violence? That is it. Those are not really great role-playing options. Okay? An open world, I can't. I can't. I have talked about this too much. There is no open world here. You land on a planet, you look where you want to go, you just run in that direction and you never stop, because you know that there's never going to be anything interesting along the way. So stopping is a waste of time. It's like, there's no exploration here to be had. It just doesn't exist.
For you guys, and this is a big question, a controversial one for sure. Do you want to see a Starfield 76?
Obviously.
So something like where it has full-blown co-op, PvP, in an open world. Do you want to see Bethesda take a...
Obviously, even if it's going to be a disaster, it's still going to be funny considering how bad 76 is. Still! By the way, there are people who are saying it's good. No, it's a shit game. 76 is literally one of the worst games out there. Yeah, they have added a lot of events, a lot of random things that can happen, but none of those things are really good. None of those things feel really impactful. You can still literally throw grenades through... Excuse me. You can still literally throw grenades through walls in Fallout 76. You can still use VOTs through walls in Fallout 76. And there's still, like, a supreme amount of glitches in the game. Okay? The fact that they added a couple of NPCs, I guess it's cool. But at the same time, is it worth it? No. No. It's still not a good game. It's like a 6 out of 10 at best.
Second attempt at this, let me know in the comments down below. I prefer the single player open world RPG experience. That's my go-to. That's what I 100% preferred no matter what.
And
Now,
the AI,
article continues
yes.
onward and says this: I spent a lot of time thinking about how the game industry is going to grow, and my view is that it grows if there's less friction of a player anywhere wanting to find their game, and closed platforms create real barriers to that, Spencer said. Now, he did admit Xbox has its own walled-off content. Starfield is not available on PlayStation, for example, but said he's working to change that. Interesting. So I'm kind of curious to see where this goes. Now, that's not to say, of course, you're not...
Odd? Is Xbox and PlayStation going to come to the conclusion that a lot of other companies have come when doing stuff that... well, this is a pretty intense conclusion, but it's this, that considering they're in the same industry and the industry has place to grow, one growing equals the other growing, so, you know, maybe they should both concentrate on growing the industry? Are they going to come to that conclusion, I wonder?
Not hold your breath, because I do not think Starfield would ever be able to make it on PlayStation, but it seems like they're very interested in expanding.
I mean, that's probably, by the way, true. It's like, these next-gen optimizations that Todd Howard has done to this game makes it that it can barely run on almost anything anyway, and it barely runs on Xbox whatever, Series X or whatever garbage you're playing. It probably will also not run on the garbage that PlayStation has, because the consoles are just so fucking bad. Like, honestly, they're just... Every time a new console comes out, after a fucking month, it's already like 5 years back into the future. How bad it is. It's like, it's such a waste of oxygen.
Where Starfield and games like Starfield can actually be experienced even beyond Xbox. So that has me interested. Furthermore, it says this right here: Xbox is still focused on expanding its game services while its rivals race ahead in film and television. This year, Nintendo and Sony have expanded their intellectual property to include the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which earned more than $1.3 billion at the global box office, and the 24-time Emmy-nominated HBO series The Last of Us. Spencer admits,
didn't like The Last of Us series. It's like they appealed to The Last of Us game. By the way, this is an unpopular opinion. I'm fully aware, but I didn't like the show because it when you're translating a book into a movie or a movie into a game or whatever you want to pull it, you need to do some things, okay? Now, The Last of Us TV series was very okay with the fans of the game, and it was kind of for them. But for everyone else, it was kind of fucking meh. I literally only watched 3 episodes. I was pretty much done the first time they encountered the clicker, because the fucking idea that she had no idea what clickers are, and that the adults in the room are too stupid to say, okay, so they're just doing this. Shh. Instead of explaining what's happening, they're just constantly doing this, and that's it. They're not explaining shit, which is stupid. Like, Jesus Christ. Of course she's gonna be, of course the kid's gonna be like, what the fuck is happening? They're just constantly doing this? This doesn't make sense? Oh, I hated The Last of Us movie series so much.
the Xbox is earlier in our journey to squeeze its brands into other spaces. So yeah, could we be seeing Starfield with its own TV series down the road? Is that something you guys would like to see?
No.
Or do you think they should just play it safe and keep it to gaming? Because yeah, they can act.
Starfield would make the worst TV series in the history of ever. And you know why? Because Starfield doesn't know what it wants to be. Starfield is not realistic. It's not fantasy enough. There's literally no selling point of Starfield. The universe makes no fucking sense. Okay? And for a good TV series to happen, you need to have a universe that makes sense. And Starfield just doesn't. There's a literal galaxy full of fucking pirates with established hierarchy, but they're still pirates and not not a trade. It makes no sense. Literally no sense.
Accidentally end up attaching, a Starfield TV show that's no good to something that many would consider to be sacred, would be considered to be very good in their mind. So they got to be careful here with whatever they do in the future. Now, furthermore, it says this: we don't have the deep expertise that Sony obviously has from their movie studios that make world-class video content, and Nintendo did a great job. Obviously, I do think it's important for these worlds we're creating in games. We used to have a lot of envy in our industry of Hollywood and what they were creating. Then you see comics kind of take over, and now you're going to see video.
Now you're seeing comics and Hollywood crumble.
Game stories continue to grow in importance.
And you know, as Bethesda sees that these things crumble, they are slowly adding woke shit like pronouns. Nice. So smart, Bethesda, so smart.
Because our creators are as capable as creators of any medium. Yeah, so I would not be surprised from what we're hearing from Phil Spencer that Starfield, maybe years down the road, if it sees long-term success with its game, which I'm expecting, that maybe, just maybe, you would see some sort of TV show. Now, also we have this: Howard and his team like...
By the way, if Starfield does make a TV show and it is successful, it's not going to be a TV show about Starfield, because the story is just stupid. The story, the intrigue, the politics, everything in Starfield is bad. If there is a show that is successful based on Starfield, it's just going to have the name Starfield, and then nothing from Starfield will actually be in that show. Admittedly, I am a huge fan of sci-fi shows like, you know, Firefly, and let's be absolutely real. Oh, I actually forgot the name of this. I even did a video on that one, though. Wow, I really forgot the name. But the one where there was Earth, Mars, the Belt. How did I forget the name? Because that is currently literally my #1 sci-fi show of all time, because it's so good. It has a lot of realism. It has the political intrigue is perfect. Man, someone comment in the comments what I said, because Earth, Mars, and the Belt, that is, just from the Belt you should be able to recognize what I'm talking about, but for some reason it's completely slipping my mind. If you want the best sci-fi show out there, just go and find that comment, because everyone knows what I'm talking about if you have watched that show.
Great games that form backdrops for countless other stories. Starfield has thousands of explorable planets, including an Earth with a surface blasted by some mass annihilation event.
Like, I mean, I literally remembered their ship name, the Rocinante. Why can't I remember the show's name? Damn.
I landed my ship in the DC area with hopes to find the nuclear wasteland from Fallout 3 to no avail. Howard laughs. We talked about it, and this gets interesting. Let's scroll on down here. It says, it was just one of hundreds of plans that didn't quite make it into the game. Howard said it was a challenge to make sure the studio's technology could keep up with its ambition. Oh, we planned, and those plans went out the window. We knew we were going to rewrite parts of the engine.
Oh my god, Todd, are you telling me 4 handcrafted locations in a fully AI-generated universe was too much for you to ask from you? That doesn't sound good.
So we started building technology for the planets and the outer space stuff on our previous engine and renderer. Eventually they realized they had to port years of work to a new engine, and then the pandemic hit. So yeah, it would have been cool if they had, full-blown references to, of course, Fallout. Do you think it would be interesting for potentially them to really start directly interconnecting their franchises, perhaps Fallout?
Yes, that would actually be technically interesting. I would like that.
And Starfield being the two key franchises that I can think about that would potentially work with interconnecting them. But then again, I myself think that they should play safe, keep them separate. But hey, you know what? I would not be surprised if in the future we see modders really go after it and include perhaps entire portions of
I mean, I see no problem for modders to actually just completely put in Fallout, any Fallout game, into Starfield, or just Skyrim into Starfield. There's probably zero problems with that. It's the same engine.
previous Fallout games in Starfield. Because you got to remember, Pete Hines did go on record stating that he does expect modders to make entire planets in the future, that is actually a possibility. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see tidbits or entire pieces of like Fallout or what have you end up perhaps in Starfield down the road, which I think would be very, very cool. The question is, do you want to see official support for something like this as well? And, you know, you have to ask, does it make sense with the lore in Starfield or not?
I mean, they're not... Bethesda is never gonna, again, upgrade Starfield in any way. It's the Bethesda way. The only bugs they will ever fix is something that completely breaks the game. Other than that, the modders will fix everything else. Bethesda knows this. That they have a literal army of people who are gonna work for them for free, for no recompense at all.
All right,
and
so
they
yeah,
use
let's keep
that.
going. It goes on to say this right here. For Howard, Starfield is born of a wish to play spacefaring adventures with modern technology and design language of video games. It's something we always talk about here. A few years in, we figured out why people try and stop or don't want to do it all the way. But we are in a fortunate position to have the support and time to do it. And you know what? That last quote gives me a lot of hope for Starfield's long-term support. It seems like we have excellent support, not only from ZeniMax, but of course, Microsoft, their new biggest supporter here. And that gets me very, very...
By the way, do you think, honestly, the worst part of Starfield is the fucking bullshit magical powers that make no sense and are kind of lame and look stupid? I honestly think that's it.
Excited for what's next for Starfield. Now, we also have this one right here from Forbes. It says, a Starfield secret. One weapon class is hilariously overpowered and
that makes a lot of sense because it's Bethesda game. I wonder if it's melee,
begs
though.
the question, is Starfield balanced or not? Do you guys...
Obviously not. When has an Elder Scrolls game... Well, not Elder Scrolls, but the Bethesda game been balanced? Like... Bruh! Are you kidding me? This starting rifle that he is using right here needs 100 bullets to kill a basic level 6 with 3 health bars. It is insane. It's not even close, okay? But anyway, I'm not interested in this. Details about weapons too much
that they
on
should
anything.
do any sort of tweaking.
We already know it's not balanced. We already know it's a bunch of BS, so I'm gonna stop it right here. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sensei. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.